All right, morning, everybody. Happy NFL Sunday. I mean, race Sunday. It's crazy how much NFL season comes around and the NASCAR DFS interest, drops off and how small the contest gets. Appreciate everyone still being here and still checking it out and still playing with us. So we're at the Charlotte Roval today. It is a road course. The main focus is really going to be, two things. A, finishing potential, and B, place differential upside. And hopefully, if we can find some drivers that offer both finishing potential and place differential upside, those are going to be the types of plays we want to focus on today. Relatively, large track, not a large number of laps. Dominator points really aren't too important. Could lead 20, 25 laps and then get wrecked out. And it's not really going to mean, too much today. So looking at the expensive range, we got Elliott, Larson, Byron, and Reddick. The elephant in the room is Kyle Larson. Larson got into the wall pretty heavy in practice, damaged his car, is actually going to a backup car and a backup motor. The advantage that Kyle Larson has is he gives you a ton of place differential upside. The disadvantage that Kyle Larson has is A, he's stuck in the very, back of the field. We know how hard and difficult it is to pass. And B, this car will not have any laps on it before the green flag. Now, Hendrick should be able to bring them a good car, a good setup. This is, a pretty steep mountain to climb. So I am still high on Kyle Larson, but I can understand wanting to come in a little under the field just because we don't know how this car is going to perform. We don't know how he's going to be able to navigate through traffic. If anyone can do it, it's in this equipment and this driver. Larson has a good shot, but he's stuck pretty far back there. Then you got Elliott. Elliott's pretty consistent, relatively a safe option. Might not lead you laps, but he should be able to give you a good finish. William Byron really just not getting to today. His practice times really didn't jump off the board. His finishes on the road course aren't great, even though he did just win the most recent road course at Watkins Glen. Really like Reddick today. Reddick is kind of a similar play that almost Justin Allgaier and Sam Mayer were yesterday in the Xfinity Series race. Now, yes, Allgaier did get wrecked out and he did not score well, but he was in for a good day. And obviously Sam Mayer, won the race. So Reddick has, one of those types of cars today. He has speed. He has the road course track history. There's a lot to like with Reddick. The only potential downside would be is if he goes points racing and does not elect to go for the win, because that could hinder his finishing potential a little bit, but the car's fast enough that it has the speed. Then you get to Truex, Hamlin, Bell, and Busch. Most of these are going to be GPP options for me. I think Martin Truex and Denny Hamlin are basically the exact same play. Both of them were pretty identical times in practice. They almost start right next to each other. I'd probably lean on Truex just – well, it's tough. You could make an argument either way. Maybe you lean on Hamlin because he's so safe on points that he doesn't really have to worry about points racing. The only problem with Hamlin was, he wrecked in qualifying, not terribly bad, but these cars are pretty fragile to a certain extent. So you don't know what type of damage he might have caused to his car. Truex isn't as safe as Hamlin on the point side, so he might be a little bit more inclined to points race today. So I'm not crazy about either of them, but I think they're relatively similar with the upside that they offer. Christopher Bell, I like him. He starts second. Again, it's always tough with these playoff drivers trying to figure out who's going to points race, who's going to go for the win. His practice times weren't as good as Reddick, so I'm still going to lean Reddick over Bell. But there's a good chance that Bell could get up front, lead some laps, or maintain his track position today. And Kyle Busch is pretty far deep in the points. Still a scenario where he could points race his way in. So it just, you never know with these playoff drivers, how their strategies could play out, what they're going to do. So I try to not go crazy. Try to usually come in under the field in some of these plays, but I don't really think many people are going to play Kyle Busch. I really do like Michael McDowell and AJ Allmendinger though, and Chris Buescher for conversation. So none of them, or I guess Chris Buescher still playoff racing, but McDowell and Allmendinger are not in the playoffs. They don't care about points. They just care about, having the best finish possible and trying to win this race. So McDowell has been really good on road courses. He has a win on a road course this year. looking at the 2022, 2023 data, everything says, hey, you need to play Michael McDowell. The only thing I'm a little fearful of, he's pretty slow in practice, but I think that team will be able to get it figured out. And then AJ Allmendinger doesn't always get the finishes on the road courses, but he does have the speed, and the upside is there. The potential is there. And him starting sixth today, looking at his finishes, that might keep some people off of him, but it doesn't scare me. Chris Buescher has been a top 10 machine on road courses, kind of like McDowell, a little bit slower in practice than I would have liked to have, seen coming into this weekend, but I still like, playing any type of combination, McDowell, Allmendinger, and Buescher. Blaney is already locked into the next round, so he doesn't care about points racing. I think that's a big upside and advantage that he has today. Start 17th, likely get a finish in the teens, though, not necessarily known to be a ace or anything when it comes to road course racing. Suarez has just really struggled in general. I mean, he does start third, so maybe you could take a risk on him for tournaments. He's out of the playoffs. He didn't really make the playoffs, so he doesn't worry about points. Chastain's under the cut line. He is worrying about points today, so I'm just not really getting to either of the Trackhouse cars. I don't mind Logano for tournaments. He's out of the playoffs, so he doesn't care about points. Probably has around a top 10 car today. If things get crazy, maybe he could finish around where he starts, but I have him as medium there, mainly just for finishing potential. I really like Ty Gibbs today, though. Gibbs was really fast in practice, had the fastest 5-lap and the fastest 10-lap average, was not able to take a qualifying time because Denny Hamlin did spin out in the qualifying session. So I think he gives you some place differential upside, too. And he's not in the playoffs, so he doesn't care about points either. So I really like Gibbs, really like his price tag. I'm going to have a lot of Ty Gibbs today. Not getting the Harvick or Bowman. They're just relatively slow. I do like Cindric. Cindric is 9 for 11 for finishing inside the top 20 and 6 for 11 finishing inside the top 10. If you look at the 2022, 2023 road courses that we've been at, he also posted the 11th fastest time in practice. So yes, he's not been good. He just got renewed, for 2024. So that's a relief, for him. Really like the upside that he offers. Same with Briscoe. I mean, Briscoe offers a lot of place differential upside. He starts 30th. I think Cindric and Briscoe are relatively similar plays. It's always a little risky when they qualify because it kind of shows you where they're at on speed. But, looking at practice and looking at other road courses that we've been at, I think these teams can advance their position. Keselowski could be chasing points today, so I'm not really too interested there. Bubba Wallace likely also going to be points racing today. He had a lot of good speed, so it's just, it's tough with the stage racing and how it kind of changes the strategy from a DFS standpoint. So even though Bubba Wallace normally isn't good on road courses, he's really fast this weekend. I mean, him and Tyler Reddick have really, really good cars. Problem is Bubba Wallace is currently under the cut line and needs those playoff points. So I elect that he'll probably stay out at the end of the stages, sacrifice his starting position for the following stage and accumulate those points. So he might finish third or eighth or fifth in stage one, but then he's going to start 18th, 21st, 22nd, in stage two or something. It's tough to get through the field. Eric Jones starts in the 20s, probably finish in the 20s. Haley and Stenhouse both showed some pretty good speed in practice. If you need some place differential, if you can't get up to the Cindrics and the Briscoes, I don't mind a Haley or Stenhouse as a potential pivot option. Dylan, more of a tournament play, starts, 15th. He's been getting better on the road courses. Ryan Preece, not really too interested in. Zane Smith was really slow. But he starts so deep that if some cars have issues or the speed of this car, maybe he'll get quicker as the race goes on. I mean, it's not unheard of to see this car get a top 20, top 25 finish. It's just, will that be enough? Eric Almirola, not necessarily known to be the best, road course racer. Corey LaJoie, if you need a punt option, I like LaJoie today. Didn't have a great qualifying run, but it was 4th overall in single lap speed, which is encouraging. And then from there, I mean, maybe you could go to Burton. Maybe you could go to Ty Dillon. Ty Dillon did wreck in practice. Still offers a little bit of place differential upside. It's just, once you get down here, a lot of these drivers aren't going to give you the finishing potential upside. You might get some place differential upside, but it's more about trying to find and build some type of balanced lineup with drivers, even if they're starting further towards the front. I mean, even if you have Busher that starts 20th and he finishes 10th, that's place differential upside. You have Michael McDowell starts 13th, he finishes 7th. That's place differential upside and finishing up, potential. So hopefully that's helpful. It's crazy. We only got basically like a month left in the season and then NASCAR is going to be done. So thank you guys as always for sticking around with us this year. It's been a lot of fun, but good luck this weekend. Best of luck with any NFL DFS you guys got going on, and we'll catch you next week.